Um, I think we'll keep it in English. Is there anyone who has some problems with Hindi? I think we'll keep it a mix of Hindi and English. So if you have a problem with either, could you raise your hand? No. Okay. So we'll keep it in English. We have some very interesting contributions, interesting responses. One second. I am from others. Okay, sure. We'll keep it in English then. We have some very interesting responses here, especially this one. I am a GSOC contributor. Whoever this is, we would love to know your name next session. Say, we'll call you. Baki, I see that none is in the middle, largest, which is good. We'll start from the basics. So, hi everyone, welcome to Push to Prod and Pray, a series on web development by Code Club JOSL. We'll be starting today with a very basic introduction to web development, nothing too technical. I'm Rahul Pandey from ITUG3. I am in the dev team along with Vivek Da from ITUG4, Shubhrodip Da, ITUG4, Somnath and Tanish from ITUG3. I think Vivek Da and Shubhrodip Da are not in the meet, but I'll tell you your names. जाके LinkedIn पे stalk कर सकते हो if you want. Vivek Haldar Da and Shubhrodip Bera Da. Somnath, एक introduction.
Hi, I am Somnath from IT 23 batch. That's all.
Tanish.
Yeah, hi, I'm Tanish and I'm also from ITUG3.
Great. So moving on to the next slide. About push to prod and pray. I'd like to talk about the title पहले तो. I hope you saw the poster. There was a meme, works on my machine. This is a very infamous phrase used by devs. इसके आगे you just push to production and pray that it works there too. However, these prayers aren't always enough. You should probably test your code before doing this. And I'd like to show you a great example for this. I'll share another screen just a minute. Yeah, I think it's visible. Keep a refresh. So this is what happens when you don't test your product and you just rely on prayers. But hopefully after this session, after this series rather, you won't have to rely on these prayers, and hopefully we can teach you how to push secure code to production. Um, right, moving on. What will we be doing in these sessions? We won't sit and teach you development from scratch because there's probably honestly lots of content on YouTube by people who are much better than us at teaching. And I'm sure तुम लोग को बैठ के मेरा आवाज़ नहीं सुनना. अगर सुनना हो तो that's great. Weird life choices, but okay. And we'll give you resources to. Sure. We'll give you resources to guide you and some memes to keep you interested. And yeah, the idea is to have regular sessions and assignments and maybe some competitions. We can't promise prizes for these competitions because budget issues, but maybe we'll try to do something. We could give you shout outs and maybe showcase your projects on the WhatsApp group or maybe the Code Club JUSL website if we can build one. And but yeah, one very important thing, all of this will only be possible if we get participation from your end. We have around 30 people here, which is nice. Could be higher, but okay. We hope to see this participation remain consistent throughout this session as well as in the following sessions. And if the numbers are high, we'll think of continuing and also moving offline if possible. And yeah, and the point of this is to help you build projects, because if you have no proof for being a great dev, then it's no good, right? People want to see your projects so that you can prove that you're good at dev, and hopefully that won't be an issue if you stick with us throughout this series. Moving on, I'd like to talk a bit about web dev. This might seem trivial, but I think it's a good idea to have a fundamental overview of what's happening. So, web dev, of course, consists of two words, web and development. So, to understand what the web is, I think I'll explain what the internet is first. The internet is a set of interconnected computers. So, the underlying hardware and the machines, the wires connecting them, all of those. And then the World Wide Web, WWW, I'm sure you've heard of that, is the set of websites or software that operates on top of this hardware. And then development, of course, is the process of writing the code for these websites. So, and going a little deeper into what goes on when you build websites and also when you visit them. This is a simple high level overview of a basic website that you can see here. So on here you have your laptop, this where you have your browser open and you're using it to visit this site. So at first you as the user are interacting with the front end, and then the front end interacts with the API in the middle, which can then access data from the database. So now, if you've done a little bit of dev earlier, you would know that let's say you use plain HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you install a live server extension on VS Code, right? And then it runs your server on localhost 55500, or maybe you use a React and it with Vite it runs on localhost 5173. When you deploy your website to production, what goes on is similar. It's just your code running elsewhere, maybe a little bit optimized for production, but what you're doing is again not exactly npm run dev, npm run build, or npm run start, but it is again just a piece of software that is running on some other computer far away from you, the cloud as you know. And again, the REST API is similar, a piece of software that is running on a remote control a computer somewhere. So, as a web developer, your role here is to be writing these pieces of software. The communication between these pieces, as denoted by the arrows, are are the responsibility of, let's say, the network engineer. How you open up your laptop and how you open the browser and everything is the task of responsibility of the operating systems. So that is managed by the OS devs. So as web developers, what we'll be managing or what our responsibility is the content that is being served here from the front end, and then the data that the REST API is providing the front end, and the data in our database. And this is a very simple overview of what a system could be, but as the number of users grows and you need to scale your website, you'll probably won't have just a single machine running your front end and one running your API and one database. This whole diagram can get very complex. In fact, so complex that there's entire interviews on this system design, if you've heard. Not at our level, matlab, they won't ask this in internship or so, but as you go for higher levels, you become a senior dev, they ask this system design. And another myth that I think that people have is that front end is boring and it's very easy, but you have to make a design and everything, like some things like that. Hopefully you can bust this myth yourself when you work on complex systems with lots of data or state to handle, and then things get slow and you need to optimize. But also I'd like to share another example for this. I'll stop presenting again. This is the LinkedIn website. I hope it's visible. Yeah. Okay. So I'd like to show you a very niche thing, how there's so many things even in the front end that you need to take care of. This is me, face reveal. If I open up the network tab here, I hope it's visible. Yeah. You can see that there's almost nothing here. But if I click on edit, you can see that it's making all of these requests. Just I'll show these requests as well. It's all the same image. So you can see a website as large as LinkedIn, as a company as large as LinkedIn, even they have so many things to handle, and probably this is not the most optimized way to be doing this. Of course, software engineers at LinkedIn know much more than me, but this just doesn't seem right. And also, this is interesting. If I click on Zoom here, you'll see they're making more requests again, but this is all the same picture. So, at our college level, of course, we usually don't think about features this complex. Editing their photo, uploading a photo, and then choosing what part of the photo is visible and all. But yeah, if you're interested, and especially if you want to become good at dev, especially at front end, if you want to do it well, then there is a lot of scope and there is a lot to do. It isn't just building designs and stuff like that. And yeah, I think that's enough for what is web dev. And now Tanish will be explaining a bit of the how. Sorry, a bit of the why you should be doing web dev. Tanish.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously, so web dev is like literally at this point everywhere, like wherever you can see. It can be used to make mobile apps, web apps, even operating systems, and whatever like you can even think about. And obviously, as a result, like JavaScript is at this point in more or less most of the machines or your browsers everywhere. So every day a new standard as well as or a new framework is obviously created to be able to like make something easier. So as you can even see the meme out there, like everyone is trying to do different some trying to solve some problem, but obviously it again becomes someone else's issue, and then a new framework is created continuously. So this is a good thing also, as it shows how much we are dependent on JavaScript, and this shows how strong the dev community is within JavaScript. So using JavaScript, I think is would be you should take it up as another language, which because this is actually pretty important. Along with your DSA, maybe if you're doing it in C, C++, along with that, go for JavaScript, and if or maybe Python. So obviously, the relevant frameworks for front end would be like you can go for Vanilla JS, but Vanilla JS is will you will run into some issues. So obviously, maybe states and everything. Now we can go for React or as well as Next. So Next is a pretty much a full stack web framework. So it is like it is the one that you can be using if you are interested in more like serverless and are not going to be making some servers and stuff. So for front end, this is as it goes, React and Next. And obviously, front end is not only designing, as Rahul has said. There are a bunch of stuff, and I think maintaining states would be one of the most difficult things in front end that you will have to be doing. So yeah, it's not designing or just making fancy stuff, but it's a lot of work. Backend is also obviously a very important work, and you can be using Express or Express as your framework, and maybe some runtimes like Node. I think a lots of you would be knowing Node.js, but you may explore Bun and Dino as new frameworks again, but they are like pretty much faster and everything. Uh, as far as databases go, you obviously have with NoSQL, you have got Mongo, Redis also, and also vector DBs because well they aren't storing any table. With Mongo, you're storing documents. With Redis, you're using the cache to store documents, and for vector DB, well, you're just storing it in forms of graphs. Like if you have actually seen how like the elements interact with each other, or like how the words are spaced in your like for AI especially, right? The LLM models that you use, how does the LLM model predict as to what the next word should be? So it uses vector databases to be able to like figure out what the next word should be and create a and use cosine similarity and other and maybe other formulas to be able to like give you the appropriate answers for this. And then obviously DevOps is not necessary as of now, but when you're going to be maybe hosting your website and doing something else, you can maybe read up on that later. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, sure.
हेलो.
Hello. Yeah.
या भैया जो एक बार पिछला वाला पेज दिखाइएगा ना, लास्ट पेज.
Wait. Yeah.
ये जो यहाँ पे फ्रंट एंड में आपने बोला कि रिएक्ट फॉर प्योर फ्रंट एंड एंड नेक्स्ट फॉर सर्वरलेस, नेक्स्ट डे फॉर सर्वरलेस, ये दोनों में लाइक बेसिक डिफरेंस क्या होता है?
So
रिएक्ट
like मैं हिंदी में बोल दूं या फिर like are you comfortable with English?
कोई में भी आप जैसे जिसमें आप अच्छा से एक्सप्लेन कर पाएंगे,
श्योर ठीक है मैं ओके फाइन तो रिएक्ट में लाइक क्या होगा लाइक रिएक्ट में यू आर जस्ट मेकिंग द फ्रंट एंड लाइक हैव यू लाइक तुमने तो किया होगा आई गेस लाइक फ्रंट एंड और बैक एंड पे काम लाइक इफ एनीथिंग
या भैया जैसे मैंने जब सीखा तो मैंने रिएक्ट सीखा, तो मगर बहुत लोग बोले नेक्स्ट जेफ तो मेरे को समझ नहीं आया कि नेक्स्ट जेफ क्या है और क्यों मैंने
एट द एंड ऑफ द डे एक रोज एक काइंड ऑफ नया फ्रेमवर्क क्रिएट किया जाएगा टू सॉल्व समथिंग और समथिंग लाइक सो रिएक्ट में आई थिंक तुमने लाइक रिएक्ट राउटर यूज किया होगा
हाँ भैया,
हाँ
भैया,
वो
React
रिएक्ट
router और Redux।
हाँ तो नेक्स्ट जेएस में दैट कॉन्सेप्ट गोज अवे राइट तो आप तुम बस फोल्डरिंग से ही लाइक वो राउट्स बना सकते हो सो दैट इज द बिग एडवांटेज तो आपका वो पूरा चला गया राउटर वाला चीज रिएक्ट राउटर एंड अनदर थिंग इज यू कैन एक्चुअली बी मेकिंग एपीआई इन नेक्स्ट जेएस इटसेल्फ तो एक्सप्रेस यूज करने की जरूरत भी नहीं होगी until unless तुम you are going for web sockets and something else then you need a dedicated backend server और इस नेक्स्ट डेज आइडिया इज अगर वेबसाइट खुला तो ही बैकएंड होगा अगर वेबसाइट कोई क्लाइंट ने नहीं खोला तो यू डोंट हैव एनी बैकएंड फॉर दैट तो द बैकएंड इज डेड करेंटली
ओके भैया क्लियर है। लाइक आप कहना चाह रहे हैं कि अगर मैं रिएक्ट सीखूं तो मेरे को लाइक बैकएंड के लिए अलग से एक्सप्रेस भी सीखना होगा, मगर नेक्स्ट जे फुल अपने में ही फ्रेमवर्क है, उसके लिए फिर अलग से बैकएंड सीखना नहीं पड़ेगा ना।
नेक्स्ट जेएस में बट फ्रंट एंड जैसे रिएक्ट में लिखते हो वैसे ही लिखना है इट्स जावास्क्रिप्ट ओनली ना कोई चेंज नहीं है बस एक्स्ट्रा जस्ट एक्स्ट्रा एक बैकएंड का फीचर आ जाता है एंड नो रिएक्ट राउटर
तो लाइक आजकल तो चलता क्या है, रिएक्ट लोग प्रेफर करता है या नेक्स्ट जेएस? Like आज का टाइम में I'm talking about 2 to 3 years in the future.
It depends. Like अगर company like wants to start, if depends upon company and client. अगर if they're wanting to start a complete new project from scratch, then even that doesn't matter. Like अगर if it's like a big enough project, then it's better to be using React. Like Next.js भी use कर सकते हो, but at the end of the day, एक dedicated server तो रहना ही चाहिए always. Like Express, you will have to be making a server in Express should always exist. What you want to use, it depends upon you.
Okay, भैया. Thank you, भैया.
Sure. Anybody else? Cool questions? You can ask on this. Okay. Before I'm starting the scope. So before starting the scope, I think a lot of you know about SIH that's starting. It's on 10th. So there, I think we have people out here. Akash and Asmit are out here. So they were a SIH finalists last year. So you can talk with them if you wish to how to create amazing websites as well as other stuff, how they convince the judges and everybody as to why the app worked. And yeah, so now I'm moving on to the scope. So so obviously for web dev, learning web dev or JavaScript, let's keep it simple. You can do obviously front-end development, as we said. So maybe your client or maybe the company you're working at trying to make maybe even mobile apps also are trying to make some mobile app or some web apps or something. And so for that, you would be needing JavaScript. And again, so that comes in front-end development, back-end development also. So the main, it's the main heart of the website. And everything is maintained here, like literally everything. As I've written, the databases and WebSockets connections are maintained. But along with that, anything that you more or less can think of, maybe your payment systems. Your payment system cannot be working upon just pure Next.js. Why? Because you cannot be maintaining continuous connection to your database. Like let's assume the client randomly just exits the website. This will create the entire payment to fail. So as far as Next.js goes, you shouldn't be using it for these kind of purposes, like maybe chatting, banking, or these things. For that, you need a dedicated server, and so backend development will always be required. Then once you're done with front-end, backend, then you may be willing to explore more stuff. So you can go for Web 3.0 development. That is a completely new thing. So it's like using the blockchain, using the database, but as a like using the blockchain, but as a database. So everything you store and everything you do would be immutable and it would be stored in the blockchain. Like nobody can change that. So it's just like whatever you were storing in the databases, that is just going to be transferred to the blockchain. And also you can go for the AI/ML path, or maybe creating I think someone wrote multimodal AI agents. So you that is also a pretty like up and coming path. I think multi-agent workflows you will be seeing a lot in the next 2 to 3 years. And obviously iOS and Android development. Other than that, yeah, I think now Somnath will be starting up.
नहीं पहले resources I'll take over.
Oh,
Uh,
sorry.
Before that, let's take some questions from the chat. Very interesting. Is there any other language we use other than JS? Like some people do CP in Java, Python, and CPP. So CP is very different from WebDev. Although you could use Java as well as Python for the backend, front end mostly you need to learn JavaScript, and then because you are learning JavaScript for the front end, people like to use JavaScript on the backend as well, because you don't have to learn a whole new language. But if you're familiar with Java and Python, then for the backend you could go ahead with those. And resources, yeah, I'll be talking about that in a minute. What is Kotlin? Kotlin is a language that is used for Android development. We won't be talking about that today because we'll be focusing on web dev. But if you'd like, we could plan future sessions on Android dev as well. And yeah, I think that's it. Okay. Moving ahead to the roadmap and resources. Just a second. Huh. So first of all, if you'd like to go through these there's multiple roadmaps here on this website, roadmap.sh. I'll share my screen and show it to you. Here you'll find roadmaps on various topics, not just web development, but also Android or AI, whatever you want. This one in particular is for full stack web development. As you can see here, you can also find front end, back end, DevOps, etc. So, of course, you could tweak these to some extent, but I think it's a good idea to follow this. It's really nice. Usually, you'd start with HTML, CSS, hypertext markup language, and cascading style sheets. Once you're comfortable with these, you can move on to JavaScript. And one thing that I'd like to say is that you'll never completely master any language. So, you can, if you think you'll learn every single thing about JavaScript before moving on to, let's say, Git or GitHub, that won't happen. So, if you're at a level where you can build websites and add some interactivity to your website, let's say with JavaScript, then you can consider moving forward. Git and GitHub is of course very important for version control as well as for collaborating with other people. So ideally you'll be working on teams with your friends or in hackathons, so you would need GitHub for that. And then there's Tailwind React. Tailwind is just another way of writing CSS. This shouldn't take too much time. React is a front-end framework based on JavaScript. There's also alternatives like Angular and Vue, but this is, I would say, the most popular, at least at our college levels. So you could go ahead with React, but if you've started with the others, that's fine too. And after that, there's backend. Here it says Node.js, and also if you see in the PPT, we've mentioned Node.js as well. But as I said, if you're familiar with Java or Python already, you can go ahead with those. And yeah, let us know in the group. Maybe if you need resources for those two, we could share that. If you ask us in the WhatsApp group, we'll be there to help you out. And the PostgreSQL is a database. I'm sure you've heard of MongoDB, and some people mentioned that they've learned Monstack. This is an alternative database. This uses SQL, whereas MongoDB is NoSQL. That's, you can choose either one to start with. And yeah, then this is coming to a little bit advanced topics like Redis, DevOps, and stuff. You could ignore these for now. These are some things you should look to learn after you're done with basic front end and back end. And now moving to the slide.
Uh,
So I've tried to maintain a similar order here, just like it was written there. You usually start with HTML, CSS. Here I've listed the topics, and then these are some free YouTube resources that you can go through. Um, you'll notice that there's many different websites, sorry, YouTube channels here. If you'd like to have get everything in one place, you could consider using a paid course. Harkirat's cohort is pretty popular, but yeah, it is you'll have to pay a decent amount to get it. If not, then YouTube free resources are more than enough. I don't think you need any paid courses. I haven't personally used those. So for HTML, CSS, there's Super Simple Dev, Git and GitHub. I think you can go through these later. We'll share the PPT with you, and links to everything are mentioned here. And these are some advanced topics which I would suggest going through only once you're done with these. So starting with the front end, Git and GitHub is version control. Then moving into backend. After you're done with these, you could look into these topics. DevOps is basically related to deployment. So after you're done making your application on your local machine, you'd like to share it out on the internet so that you can showcase it to people. That's where DevOps comes in. You can of course use platforms like Vercel and Netlify. Those are much easier. But if you'd like to get your hands dirty, you could try out uh, cloud providers like AWS. They provide you Linux virtual machines. You could use Docker to deploy your applications. There's again links here. These are some of these are courses. Some of these are just videos that talk about what these are. So CI/CD is continuous integration and continuous delivery. You'll find a video explaining what this is, and DevOps is also a different. You could pursue it if you want. Let's say you're not interested in web development. It's not like you need to know dev to be doing this. You could also learn move towards DevOps if you want. And then some other advanced topics are building real-time applications, like let's say chat apps. For example, in WhatsApp, you see whenever you're talking to someone, you're sending a message and they get it immediately, right? So um, yeah, that's something that can be implemented using WebSockets. Then there's WebRTC, which is used for video calls. For example, Google Meet itself, you will see that it's implemented using WebRTC. So there's some resources for you to go through, and then you could also look into building scalable systems. You'd need to make sure that your system is able to support large number of users, and for that you need some mechanisms like pub/sub or message queues. Those can be implemented using Redis and Kafka. And apart from that, there's some honorable mentions here. See, these are full out courses on specific technologies. I would suggest, apart from just learning, you should follow some creators whose content you like, so that you can stay up to date with recent trends and learn interesting concepts which are not necessarily related to a certain technology. So for those, there's Gaurav Sen. He also came to our college in Srijan 2024. There's Arpit Bhayani. He works at Google and he also built his own database, Dice GB, I believe it's called. And this is another YouTube channel. He posts some interesting videos, not very long, but they're really nice. And he also talks about upcoming technologies. And apart from that, there are some websites you can go through where there are challenges or projects for you to build, and you'll in some places you'll get a guidance or roadmap as to how you can build it. For example, Code Crafters, whereas in Front End Mentor you can get ideas to build front end, basically to practice your front end skills. If you've just learned, let's say, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and you want to practice building websites, I would suggest this website Front End Mentor. And Code Wars is again another interactive website where there's certain challenges that help you learn coding in a gamified manner, because I understand that it can get boring at times. So these are some fun websites you could go through. Apart from that, we'd also try to keep sessions maybe offline or online, where and also give you assignments or maybe conduct mini hackathons or other competitions, so that you can get practice, and also maybe you'll end up building some nice projects which you can later showcase on your resume. And some pointers that I would like to touch upon: don't do this. I hope I'm not the only one who does this, but try to stick to a course. If you're starting something, believe in whoever is teaching you, ki he or she is teaching the correct amount of things that you know at this that you need to know at this point of time, and you can always come back to it later, maybe read documentation or blogs if that particular course has missed something. So it's much better to stick to one, complete it, and only then move forward to the other, instead of trying switching between things all the time.
And I would also like to add on, like I would say that the names which are mentioned out here, I think these creators are enough. Like you will find enough content here. And I would say that these are some of the few creators who actually create very high quality content out there. So I would say, or recommend rather, it's your free will. I would recommend that whatever course you want to pursue, you should try to with these creators because they are great actually. So and one more thing is that Chai or Code is run by a YouTuber called Hitesh Chaudhary. You can also check out his English channel because his English channel is more content rich and more informational. So I would say that when you are learning Git and GitHub, I personally felt that Hitesh Chaudhary taught it better than Piyush Garg. So you can also try out his courses. And whatever names are mentioned here, I think they are enough. They provide enough resource pool. And I actually do not endorse people buying courses. So like YouTube has it all. So you can, and also you can reach out to us whenever you need some content or resource. We are happy to help. Yeah. You can carry on, Rahul. Sorry.
No problem. As Dada said, maybe you'd prefer a certain channel to another. Let's say, as he said, Chai or Code over Piyush Garg for Git and GitHub. You can definitely go ahead with those. These are just some suggestions. Even in case you, let's say, you're struggling to find resources, you could follow these. But if you've started something, if you started learning something, then feel free to follow and continue with that. These are just, as I
And
said,
what I meant to say is that like these creators provide a good resource pool, and like don't doubt these people whenever you are attending their courses. Like what Rahul said initially, that people start doubting that these courses are not enough, then they switch the courses and they end up learning nothing. So when you start off with any course of these people, I would say that they are very much content rich and you should not doubt them and try and finish the course first. That's what I wanted to say. So yeah, Rahul, you can continue. Sorry again.
no problem. And yeah, just one last thing. Some people, as you asked, that could we do backend in Python, Java, etc. You could. We've just mentioned the most common languages or frameworks here. If you have any further questions, please feel free to ask right now, or even in the WhatsApp group. I'll send you the link in some time. Even if we don't have the answer right now, we'll make sure to get back to you with the answers. And yeah, I think that's it for this slide. Over to Tanish now.
Yeah, sure. So we are going to be showcasing some of our projects. It's not that great, but yeah, it's a starting point. Yeah. Is my screen visible?
Huh.
Huh. Okay.
हाँ
Yeah.
भैया
So so this is one of our website. Obviously, the front end is pretty bad, so don't look at it. But the thing is, this is one of the best, like one of our like most intensive backend that we had made for this. So the thing is, this one is not just a single database. So it uses two databases. Like one is Postgres for you for putting down all of your posts and everything. And second of all, this uses Redis for caching all the latest posts that or the latest comments or everything that the user needs, and it needs to be served at an immediate instance. You can even open the site, and if you have the JU mail or your college mail, then you may register with it. And only having a college mail, you can be posting. If you don't have a college mail, then you can see and like maybe put down comments. Other than that, that's it. So it not only does that, it also has Fuse.js. So let's, for example, the idea is that let's assume whenever you are searching for a post and you have written the wrong name. So for example, there's a Tom Cruise post. So if I write actually Tom Cruise, then also this Tom Cruise thing will come out. All right. So the idea, so obviously it uses something called fuzzy searching. And along with that, we also have a pure WebSocket related chat room. And obviously your email wise filtering, as well as out here we also have infinite scrolling and pagination. So like immediately it goes on a load, and it does not like it does not load up your entire backend asking for all the posts, and just puts down 3 or 4 posts at a time. So you may try this out. Other than that, another project that we would like to showcase is this chill down. It's not hosted, so you cannot be using it. So it's this one is a simple idea, but it's amazing. But this one is the idea is that this is a multiplayer game in which you can actually interact in real world. So the idea is if I actually open another site, then 2 people will be coming in. Yeah, as you can see, there are now 2 people. These so this is a completely multiplayer game where you can interact with each other, and so it has a bunch of sites. Obviously, this one is the video calling. It opens up the video call, so I'm not gonna start this immediately. But yeah, other than that, this is made from Phaser. So if anybody of you are interested to learn to make games using JavaScript on web application, then you may be using Phaser as Unity, and both Unity and like I think Unreal uses C hash and I guess C++ for making games. But Phaser.js, it's purely JavaScript based, and you can make more games like this. And yeah, that's it. And this also has, I think, Web 3.0 marketplace also. So if we can, yeah, this is a smart contract type of stuff. And yeah, this is it. Thank you. I think now Somnath will take over for.
Tanish, what do you use Redis for in the first blog wala website?
No, so first the thing is to store all the latest posts to recent posts which get stored in.
Okay,
It's
got it.
basically done so that there is mass material.
Like yeah, if let's assume 100 people are opening the website, then it does not load up the database like asking for the latest continuous posts. And even
Okay, got it.
yeah, likes and
Nice.
comments. Yeah.
Got it. So you are using it. Sorry. So you are
Yeah.
using it as a database rather. Like you are using
Yeah,
Redis
yeah,
as a database.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
got it. Got it. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sharing a GitHub repo. Here the code is a bit buggy and the issue is created here. So you all can give it a try. And since it's pretty late, we can, if anyone is not able to solve, we can try the solution through the solution in the next session. Right?
सोमनाथ इशूटा देखी थे मैंने इशू में शेयर कर
So basically the issue is, if I open the website, so if I open the website and do a randomize. It doesn't does to all the cells, rather it does only to the half of the cells. So you have to fix that bug. And another one is that the reset button is not working properly. It should turn the color of all the cells to white, the default state. Instead, it is turning the color to yellow. So these are the two bugs which you all have to fix. And
So the idea is try to fix this as soon as you can, and we'll probably we can't of course give you prizes, but maybe give you a shout out or so to the first person who makes the correct PR and fixes this issue. And yeah, I think that's more or less it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask now.
Guys, do we have a deadline for this? Like by when they should submit this thing?
1 week, just get it
One.
enough.
Can we also have a start time, because there are many people who are not aware of Git. So we should, I think, provide them enough time to learn Git and then know how push and. So I don't think it will take more than 1 or 2 hours, but still, like.
Yeah, resources are given in the slides. Right, we'll share the slides, and then
If you have any questions, you can ask. Rahul, Somnath, Tanish, I have to leave. It was a great session. We'll talk later on. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much.
Good night, everyone.
good night.
Yeah. So anybody having any kind of questions, you may ask.
I guess no. Then we could wrap it up then.
Okay then. Alright guys, thanks